Starting with the chalk and burn. Starting with the cock and burn. That is hilarious. Okay, so Killing Floor 2 isn't a new game to me. I actually bought this game a few years ago because it fits a niche genre that I love playing. At the same time, though, it fails to hold my attention for long. It represents an itch, and after scratching it, is forgotten until the itch returns. But I had the itch again, so why not make a review while scratching away? Killing Floor 2 is a class-based shooter about surviving waves of zombie attacks. And with the exception of the hold a specific area waves to avoid being too one-dimensional, the game is simply just about killing zombies wholesale. Or it's about running for your life, because you are being overrun by zombies. This is what KF2 shines at. Fast gameplay that is downright frantic and stress-inducing. Sweaty palms and increased heart rates are commonplace. The only reprieve given is the unique gameplay mechanic called Z time, an effect when time slows down for a brief period, possibly buying you enough time to eliminate your immediate threats. Waves start off easier, with less and smaller zombies, but each wave will get more difficult, spawning tougher zombies and larger populations. Between waves you get a chance to buy more powerful weapons, so you will hopefully be better equipped to deal with the increasing hordes. Then the last wave is a boss fight. Now for the trickiest question when talking about zombie shooters. To start the talks with the guns or the zombies? Quite the chicken or the egg paradox. I guess the answer is, we need to know what we are shooting to discuss what's to be enjoyed about how we dispose of them. The zombie archetypes, referred to as Z, are represented well. There are plenty of the slow, stereotypical base Zs, but there are also the faster little crawlers that force you to aim down and watch your feet. There is also the erratic moving slasher, the invisible stalkers, the bladed arm and arms of the gore-fast and gore-fiends, the fat bloaters and their acidic puke, the explosion-eating scream of the siren, the ranged flame-throwing husk with their explosive fuel backpacks, the, robotic Eder, the massive chainsaw-wielding Skrakes, and berserking flesh pounds. The Z variety has a little something for everyone. So let's get to the good part. What kind of guns are we using to clear Zs? At the start of every match, the player gets to choose between classes called perks. Each perk specializes in particular weapon types, but can use all the weapons in the game. There are 10 different perks to pick from. Now, since the game has been out for a few years, the weapon choices have grown, so perks that used to be weak against specific Zs now have better on-perk weapon choices, even if they can be suboptimal. But for the sake of simplicity, I am going to explain the perks in a more general way. The Berserker is for the contrarians that prefer to play the melee character in an FPS. Starting with the Croval and better damage reduction and health than the other classes, the Berserker's role is to frontline for the rest of your squad, taking the Zed's focus. While having some ranged weapon options, your choices will basically be slower, harder hitting, versus faster but lower damage melee weapons. In earlier waves, the Zerker is used mainly to thin out the Zed packs, but as larger Zeds start spawning, the Zerker's capability of parrying with their main weapons allow them to play more as a tank control character. The best part about using this perk? Only a few of the melee weapons use ammo, so your money will go towards upgrades sooner than the other perks. Just beware, it can be easy to get overwhelmed by enemies if running into swarms of Zeds too cavalier. The Commando is the assault rifle archetype, starting with the AR-15, with a specialization on revealing the invisible stalkers to the squad. Commando's main role is clearing out the small to medium Zeds with their faster firing, larger magazine weapons. They can also see health bars of the Zeds. The Commando falls short when dealing with the larger Zeds, compared to the heavier hitters. The Demolitionist uses explosives, starting with a grenade pistol and providing an extra grenade every wave to their squad mates. Due to the nature of explosives, their role in the squad can lean more into killing the larger Zeds or clearing out multiple smaller Zeds, based on their weapon choices. The drawback of this perk is how expensive the ammo is, while also only being able to carry small quantities. And many of the explosives need a short travel time before activating, meaning if you hit a Zed point blank, they will only take the kinetic damage of firing without the boom afterwards. So you will need to find a sweet spot of not being too far away that the weapon's travel time causes you to miss, while not too close to miss out on the explosions. The Demolitionist can also arm doors with explosives that are welded shut, if you can get a squad to work around this strategy. The Firebug is the pyro that never quite grew out of lighting things ablaze. Starting with the Caulk and Burn, which is a homemade flamethrower, the Firebug is both great at clearing out the smaller enemies, while also solid crowd control with lighting indirect fires. Spoiler, the Zeds don't like being lit on fire and will panic. The Firebug's damage can be pretty lacking against the larger Zed, and they literally burn through ammo. And to top all of this off, most of their weapons have limited range, forcing you to play closer and with a higher risk than most of the other perks. But you get to set things on fire, so risk versus reward. The Gunslinger is the cowboy perk, starting with a pair of 1858 revolvers. Their specialization is hand cannons akimbo, and they hit hard. Massive single shot damage, massive burst damage, with massive recoil, massive reload times, and massive ammo expenses. This perk is built for taking out the most threatening Zeds. The downside is having to use that expensive ammo on smaller Zeds when things get too busy. The medic is the healer and the pseudo buffer to the squad. Lacking the specialized firepower of the other perks, the little boosts, along with the additional health provided by the medic, allow for a welcome position to the squad. While not helpless solo, most of the medic's weapons are generic and less efficient versions of the other perk's choices, with a healing dart alt fire. The starter weapon is just the sidearm every other perk has, with a healing dart function. The darts do have a little bit of homing to them, which can be nice when the action starts picking up. And I know my accuracy can fall off in those situations. I also assume the darts have a little bit of homing because the players that gravitate towards healers are less confident in their FPS skills. Oh yeah, and to top it all off, the medic's SMG has the most satisfying firing sound, only made better during Zed time. The Sharpshooter is the sniper archetype, starting with an 1894 Winchester rifle. This perk is built for hitting headshots and dealing high single shot damage from afar, but this comes with plenty of drawbacks. Most of the weapons have small magazines, or are even single shot. The fire rates are low, the reload time's high, the ammo expensive and in limited quantities. But if you have the accuracy for the headshots, your capability to assassinate the large Zed is incomparable. The support specializes in shotguns, and starts with a pump action. The biggest benefit of the support is giving the other perks additional ammo every wave. After some consideration, the support is basically the close-range version of the Sharpshooter. High damage output with small weapon magazines that are fairly expensive, and limited ammo reserves. But the accuracy requirement is less demanding, since shotguns fire pellets with a spread. The trade-off is that their effectiveness falls off at longer ranges. I think alt-firing the Doomstick will say everything you need to about this perk. Or firing the AA-12. Or maybe I just have a favorite perk. And if you decide to play the welding doors strategy, the support are also the only perk that can fix broken doors. The SWAT is the SMG specialist, starting with an MP7. This perk epitomizes the term bullet hose. Most of the SMGs feature high magazine sizes with higher rates of fire and low recoil, but at the cost of very low bullet damage. This perk can also be built to start with body armor and an extra sidearm, making it a great early game perk. But this is also where the perk's weakness lies: late game. While being great against the Zeds into earlier waves, where you can take more time placing shots, the stopping power of the bullets, mixed with its spray and pray nature, really falls off against the medium and larger Zeds. Finally, there's the Survivalist, which specializes in not specializing. This perk is meant to be played as a filler role for the squad, while lacking the particular strengths of the more specialized perks. Jack of all trades, master of none. But this is also the strength of the Survivalist: versatility, which comes with the ability to mix and match weapons from the other perks. Want to use shotguns and SMGs? Maybe a rocket launcher and deagles akimbo? Get creative. As you play these perks, you will gain XP towards levels. The max level is 25. Every level will give the perks their own unique passive increases. Then, every 5th level, you will get the choice between 2 unique specializations, allowing you some customization over how you want to build and play your perk. One of the best aspects of KF2 is the sheer amount of different weapons in it, at around 100. Half the fun is trying out all the different weapons to find what your favorites are. As you defeat waves of Zed, you will get money for ammo, upgrades, and new guns. There is a little bit of economy to learn here. Sometimes it is worth holding onto a weaker weapon for one more wave to save up and buy a better upgrade. Other times you might have to make a choice between being able to afford ammo or buying an upgrade. I mean, I make this sound more difficult than it is. Always impulse buy the biggest gun you can and figure it out from there. Ammo spawns every wave. Just find the ammo crates lying around. Boom, problem solved. Cake and eating it. Most of the perks have around 10 on-perk weapon choices, or weapons that get bonuses from your perk's passives. There are also a handful of cross-perk weapons, which are usable for multiple perks. For example, the Dragon's Breath. A shotgun that fires incendiary projectiles is classified as a Firebug weapon, but can also be used by the support, and will get full use of the support's passive bonuses. An old tactic from before all the cool guns were added to the game was for the commando to bring the medic's assault rifle to the boss fight to help with healing. There is a sizable map pool to pick from, varying from the very open, spacious outdoors areas to cramped, winding tunnel-style indoors, with everything in between. I think they hit on about every basic horror-style area you can think of, like Santa's workshop. Keep in mind what perks you are picking based on the maps, though. The Sharpshooter isn't going to be as effective without longer lines of sight, where the Berserker is going to be less useful without being able to close the distance easily. I also have to give a lot of credit for how much has been put into this game post-release, especially for free. I can't think of another game that has added this much additional content. And as for the DLC weapons that cost money, they are available to anyone in the lobby of the person that bought them. I do have some small complaints though. For one, the jump height in the game can be deceiving. There are a lot of areas where it looks like you should be able to jump on or over something, but the game doesn't let you. The difference between a safe fall and getting heavily damaged feels non-existent. Almost like the game just picks when you should get hurt. The crosshairs while shooting from the hip can be hard to judge, and a lot of the weapons have iron sights instead of scopes. And this might just be a personal problem, but I suck at using most of them. And as much as I like playing this game, and as much fun as I have playing it, I eventually run into the same wall. The game just lacks depth. I will have a blast playing this game, asking why I don't play it more often. And then a couple hours later, be reminded that there is only so much zombie killing I can be entertained by. There is minimal story to follow. There are only so many new guns to try. You can only use your favorite so many times before wanting to change it up. There are only so many times you can be reminded why you don't use that gun, and that trying to find a use for it is futile. And while changing up perks can be fun for a little while, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you are slicing them in half, popping their heads off, or blowing them into chunks. You are still killing the same zombies over and over. And no matter how many you kill, they will always just keep coming back. But this is also what brings me back after the breaks. This is basically the same game I left. Unlike other games where there are entirely new systems and mechanics to learn, you can jump right back into killing Floor 2, with the possibility of a few new weapons and a new map or two to try out. So, do I recommend killing Floor 2? Yes, I do. There are easily dozens of hours of simplistic, but intense zombie killing gameplay that there is no reason to complicate. And as much as I may tire of the game and put it down for months at a time, I eventually come back and put hours into it again. Sometimes I just want to blow a flesh pound into pieces with an RPG, remove a Scrake's body from its head with an AMR, or stab a slasher in the face with a katana. And I can't help but respect how much effort Tripwire continues to put into this game. This game may be a niche genre, but it is probably the best at what it does. If you are looking to kill hundreds of zombies, KF2 has you covered. Thanks for watching.